Today, I'll be diving into the massive rabbit hole that is artisanal perfumery with one of the most famous artisanal perfume brands that everyone keeps talking about. I've heard about this brand for multiple years now. It is none other than Russian Adam's Areej Le Dore. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, probably not a video you're going to see very often on the channel, we are unboxing and giving first impressions on an Areej Le Dore creation. This is by the Kaaba, and this is a set. So there is a typical spray, and there's a 3 gram, or I think 3 ml Attar. Areej Le Dore is an artisanal perfume brand. So this is very different from the typical type of stuff that I talk about on this channel. Typically, I'm into niche and some designer stuff, but artisanal perfume is a whole other deal. Now, I've heard about Areej Le Dore for a very, very long time. I'm no stranger to hearing their name getting thrown around. So why has it taken me so long to actually try some of these or get a bottle? Well, I mean, for the longest time, I just wasn't really attracted to this side of perfumery because with artisanal perfumes, it is very low production. They're using incredibly rare, expensive raw materials. So naturally, the production of these perfumes is very, very limited. And the production of by the Kaaba is no different. Unfortunately, with a lot of these brands, what happens is the retail price is very, very high to begin with, and then scalpers and people buy the bottles up, and you'll see them on eBay for upwards of $1,000 the next day. So that alone pushed me far away from trying a lot of these artisanal perfume brands like Ensar Oud, even Bortnikov and Maxim, but especially Areej Le Dore. But I found a bottle of By the Kaaba being sold for retail. And recently, my friend Daniel from the channel Seldomly Often did a frag talk or an interview with the perfumer of Areej Le Dore, Russian Adam. And I highly recommend, if you're interested in this sort of stuff, you go and watch that video, because in that interview or in that frag talk, Russian Adam goes into a lot of the nerdy material stuff regarding artisanal perfumery, and it sort of reinvigorated my interest in the brand so much so that I decided to not only order a couple samples, but this bottle. Now, the fragrance we'll be unboxing today is, of course, by the Kaaba. This particular fragrance is of great significance to the perfumer of Areej Le Dore. It is essentially trying to recreate the spirit and the essence of being by the Kaaba, of course, located in Mecca. It is an extremely important religious site for Muslims. And this fragrance has a particularly awesome write-up that I'm going to read, because I really think it gives you an idea of just what this fragrance is going for and some of the materials used. Because with artisanal perfumery, the materials are really some of the main stars of the show. So, Russian Adam says, this fragrance is born from a spiritual journey, beginning at the Kaaba, where the air itself cradled the most beautiful aroma known to the soul. Here, the most precious aromatics used to grace the sacred sanctuary and its surrounding spaces are gathered by the wind and woven into perfect harmony. A mesmerizing tapestry of the East unfolds, the deep solace of oud, the soft whisper of musk, the sun-warmed breath of ambergris, the tender blush of rose, and the whisper of resinous spices. So you can already get a feel of what this is trying to recreate. The brief continues, yet this composition is no common ode. It is not a heavy, ornate oriental veil. It is a finely tuned serenity, a soft and calm refinement. It carries within it a profound peace, a spiritually rich feeling, precisely the gentle awe that settles in the heart when standing before the Kaaba. It is a scent like a quiet breath, a flowing invocation, lingering like a cherished silence after a sacred word. And then they go into the materials, which is a big part of this. So, top notes. The rarest vintage red Royal Omani Luban, which is frankincense, infused with vintage basil. Okay. Heart notes. A bouquet of exquisite vintage rose, and this is real rose oil, including royal Taif rose, distilled from petals infused with natural vintage deer musk, so the real thing, not synthetic musk, and ambergris. Base notes: wild aged kokong, koiai, and nalang oud. So those are 3 types of oud. Rare distilled jasmine grandiflorum, Indian sandalwood, laced with spices and natural musk, deepened by orris root, patchouli, and myrrh. I mean, like, hell of a write-up. Sets the stage for hopefully one hell of a fragrance. I fully expect this to smell like nothing I've ever really encountered before. So without further ado, let's see what it smells like. All right, one last look at this beautiful packaging. Let's break the seal. So yeah, that write-up, really descriptive. I am anticipating something oody. I'm anticipating something, maybe rose oody, but maybe that's too much of an oversimplification because I'm not really sure what to expect from real natural deer musk. Very beautiful, extremely ornate. This is metal, which is very, very nice. And I'm not sure how this opens. I don't want to do it on camera and then break the entire bottle. That would be catastrophic. Wow, okay. Ooh, it's magnetic. Okay, so here we go. And as I mentioned, this is a set. This is absolutely gorgeous. Wow. Holy shit. All right. That is something else. I can't wait to smell this. So with stuff like this, putting it on a test strip, you might as well sell it. Okay? Honestly, just get rid of it if you're not going to put it on skin. So we are going to do this the justice it deserves and put these on skin immediately. I believe I will do the spray first, and then I will do the Attar second. Oh, whoa. Yeah, so that is, yep, that is exactly what I expected. All right, I'll let it settle for a couple minutes here. I want to give these the respect they deserve, and these are perfumes where first impressions are almost worthless. You're really going to need to spend a lot of time to understand these, but let's smell this. Okay. Wow. This you can just tell, even off first sniff, like this is just something different. This is a whole different type of area in perfumery. It's immediately, I can just tell this is super high quality. Oh my God. Okay, so I'm getting hit in the face with everything all at once, at least in the opening. I'm sure this will transition, but I'm getting that oud first and foremost up front. At least that's how I interpret it. It is coming off as slightly animalic. It's more of a woody oud, but it's really smooth. Very smooth. I'm not sure if it's the deer musk or something, but there is another animalic component in here that's sort of pushing, if that makes sense. And I'm getting maybe the basil he mentioned. There is this distinct herbal, spicy quality in the top. And the incense here, strangely, it reminds me of the incense in Frederic Mall Dawn. I don't know why. But it's so much rounder. It's not as, like, boosted, if that makes sense, like in Frederic Mall Dawn, where you can tell that, you know, Dawn is not a artisanal perfume. It's going to have, you know, aroma chemicals in there and all sorts of stuff to help support the notes. It's flatter, but it's also richer and more full-bodied, and it feels very rounded off to me and smooth. There is that rose oud thing happening for sure. The rose in here it's taking a back seat to the other notes, at least the way I'm interpreting it right now. You can tell there's that sort of pink rosy thing going on in the background. Oud, contrary to what a lot of people think, sometimes isn't a very long-lasting note, so maybe this will have a massive transition from top to bottom, and the oud will pull back and the rose will come through. I have to be honest, this kind of smells like exactly what I thought it would smell like. It's absolutely beautiful. just off of first impressions. But again, like I mentioned, these are fragrances you really have to give a lot of time, a lot of respect in wearing them and really understanding what's going on. So just in the opening, I'm very impressed. I really am. This is absolutely beautiful. Yeah. One last look at the presentation here. I mean, look at the color of that juice, man. You can just tell there's some peculiar materials in there. I think the thing that's shocking me so much about this is how smooth it is. It doesn't feel like an artisanal mishmash of random materials. That is sometimes the biggest critique when it comes to artisanal perfumery. You know, you have these smaller brands and people that aren't traditionally, master perfumers taught in France or anything like that. It's just people learning by themselves. They're self-taught, or maybe they became a perfumer after being, a chemist for a long time or something like that. And, artisanal perfumery gets critiqued for essentially being a bunch of really expensive materials haphazardly assembled into a bottle. This does not feel like that. This feels like there's a lot of thought. It feels like there's structure, right? There's going to be a top and a middle and a base, and it feels coherently constructed. So that's a plus for this. This is the latest release from Areej Le Dore. I don't know if Areej Le Dore. I don't know if I mentioned that, but yes, this is the latest release from the brand. So I guess you could consider this to be maybe his most experienced release. I don't know if that's true or not. The spray is absolutely gorgeous. I bet you the oil will be even better. So let's do a swipe of the oil on my other hand. Okay, so here is the little baby oil. It's beautiful though. I only have one other Attar, and it's from Amouage. It's Luban Al Akhtar, and that's probably one of my favorite Amouages of all time. So I've slept on Attar for a long time. Let's see what this one's all about. So I'm not sure if this works like another Attar that I have. So what is this? It pulls off and so there's no stick in it. And as you can see, okay, so you can tell this is hand done, right? So there's a little, I don't know, electrical tape on there with what looks to be a plug. I'm going to cut camera and I'll swipe it. Right, so after the most nerve-wracking 30 seconds of my life pulling the plug out, I got some Attar on. So again, spray on left hand, Attar on right hand. I assume the Attar will be like maybe a denser, richer version of the same thing. Let's remind ourselves of the spray first. Transitioning amazingly, by the way. It's really, it's getting woodier now. It's getting more settled. A little more animalic. That oud is really front and center. Okay, let's see what the Attar is. Whoa. Okay. So if the spray is 4K, the Attar is 8K. Wow. Okay. Oh my God. So it's like I thought. It is essentially the same thing, but just condensed. It's very, very concentrated. I assume the Attar will be much longer lasting, a lot slower of a transitional wear experience. It's going to move through the stages very sluggish. But the density here, the sheer amount of detail is incredibly impressive, even off of first sniff. I mean, I'm not even scratching the surface when it comes to either of these, but even off of first impression, I can just tell that the Attar is going to be maybe the star of the show. Oh my God. So it's so bright. The Attar has a little bit of a more pronounced rose feel to me, whereas this, I'm getting more of an oudy element from the spray, and the rose is a little bit brighter. Maybe it's that Taif rose. I know Taif is associated to be a little bit of a citrusy rose. That's what it kind of feels like here. There's still the oudi element. There's still the resinous sort of incensey wispiness with that basil greenness, but it is brighter. It does feel more like a full-bodied rose than in the spray itself. And excuse my ignorance when it comes to applying Attar. I only have one other Attar. I know maybe you're supposed to like maybe take your finger and like spread it around or do the thing with the wrist and then, you know, swipe it behind the neck. I am an Attar novice, okay? So this is just for testing purposes. Attar experts, comment down below. What should I do? I'll tell you what I already know I'm going to do though. I'm going to layer these 100%. The layering experience between the Attar and the spray completes the entire package. Yeah, just I'm like I don't even know what to say at this point. These are so impressive. I expected to be less impressed than I am. I expected this to be maybe less professionally executed, but it's just not. It's very well done. These are super high quality. And you know the thing that's striking me the most, actually? These are not challenging. This is not as challenging as I thought it would be. When you're talking about Areej Le Dore, I mean, there's stuff like Cuir de Russie, Inverno Russo, we got Siberian Musk, all these crazy animalics in there, and oud, and all this stuff. This is fairly approachable. To give you an idea, comparing it to maybe some other oud perfumes, I would say The Night by Frederic Malle is far more challenging. I would say something like, God, dare I say it, Silver Oud from Amouage, I would say is a little more challenging. Maybe even King Blue. I don't know. Maybe that's crazy, but this is coming off to me as exceptionally approachable. I'm not sure if that was his goal with this, Russian Atom, but the Attar is just, honestly, if I were to just pick one of these, if I had to, the Attar is the experience, okay? The spray is phenomenal. The Attar is on a different level. Briefly commenting on projection, just, you know, and sillage and how much this is really pushing off my skin, I have to be honest, I think the description for many people is really spot on. Both from the brand calling it soft and from other people in videos calling it soft. I do not really pick up. Like, I have to get very close to it to smell this. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that it won't last for a super long time. I just don't think this is very shouty. I think this is very polite. I was expecting something way more bombastic and loud, and, you know, even though they said it was soft, I expected soft for this style of perfumery. But this is soft for perfume in general, I would say. It wouldn't be soft when you're wearing it. If you put this on with the Attar and the spray and you do a proper application, this would be present, I imagine, throughout the entire day. It just isn't necessarily super offensive when it comes to like how much projection it has, which I actually prefer. Concluding this first impressions video, I've been, you know, walking around for about 20 minutes to let these chill and settle. So the spray is entering this sort of almost ambery resinous feel. The oud is still present. It still has this very slightly musky animalic sort of vibe. The herbaceousness has gone away. That rose is still peeking through, but it's much more ambery than I thought it would be. And it might be the myrrh. It might be that incense or something like that, but it's not ambery in a vanillic sweet way. That is absolutely not the case. Absolutely beautiful. And the Attar, I think, is heading the same direction, but just way slower. Yeah, the Attar is still basically in the opening. It hasn't changed much at all. I have a feeling this will probably be an over 12-hour wear for the Attar. The spray, maybe significantly less. I'd say, I don't know, 6 hours, 8 hours maybe. Okay, but Areej Le Dore, first impressions of By the Kaaba. I am incredibly impressed. It makes me want more of them. However, it's hard to get more Areej Le Dore. They're very expensive, and they are limited production, and they are, you know, very sought after. So this might have to be the only one, which is fine. If they come out with the one that interests me later on, then maybe I'll try to grab it. Maybe I won't. I'm very happy to have this though. Absolutely gorgeous. If you own this or have tried it before, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. First impressions, I really enjoy it. I'm looking forward to getting to know it even more. Because as I've said multiple times, these are fragrances that I feel as though you really have to give a lot of time to. You have to respect them. You have to try to understand what's going on. And yeah, I'm going to give them that time. So appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much. Hopefully Russian Adam will comment on this video. I typically see him comment on Areej Le Dore videos. So what's up, Russian Adam? Good job, man. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video.